Seches Gittin Daf Dalid contains two Mishnayos, one about midway through the daf, one towards the end of the daf. First half of the daf is discussing a machlekes Rava and Abaye about what's called Gilui Daito Begita. If somebody is revealed that he does not want to get, he wants to cancel the get, but he never actually went ahead and canceled it. He didn't verbally say this get should be canceled. Does that cancel the get or not? The Gemara is going to try to bring several proofs from a number of incidents. The Gemara introduces the machlekes with a incident and tries to bring a number of incidents as proofs. Then we'll get to the Mishnah, which continues the list of takanas that Rabbi Gamliel HaZaken made in Hilchos Gittin. So the Gemara introduces with a story. The Gemara says, was a man by the name of Gidul Bar Eloi that sent to get to his wife. The shliach came that she was weaving. So she said to the shliach, now's not a good time, come back tomorrow. So the shliach went back to Gidul Bar Eloi and said, I came, this is what happened, I never actually gave her the get. So Gidul Bar Eloi exclaimed, Baruch atah, blessed is he who is good and does good. So you see, he seemed to be very thankful that the get wasn't given, and obviously he didn't want to go through with it. So it sounds like he revealed that his mental state, his state of mind was that he wants to cancel the get. So Abaye said, Baruch atah meitiv, revealed his mental state, but he never canceled the get, and the shliach can go ahead and give the get tomorrow. Until you cancel the get, it doesn't matter if we know what you're thinking, you have to go cancel it. Rava said, Baruch atah meitiv, and the get is bottled. By revealing what he has in mind, he's canceled, the get is canceled. You can't give the get if he doesn't want to give it. So there we have our machlekes. If a man reveals his mental state but never actually goes through with canceling it, is that enough to cancel the get or not? So the Gemara says a number of proofs. Says, Rava, what's my source? My source is from Rav Sheshes. There's a story with Rav Sheshes. He forced a person to give a get, and he said to the witnesses, and that man went and said to the witnesses with intent to cancel the get, he said, this is Rav Sheshes' message to you, cancel the get. And Rav Sheshes required a second get. Now, he never actually canceled the get. He just said, this is what Rav Sheshes wants you to do. And yet, Rav Sheshes required a second get. So you see, just by revealing his intent, that canceled the get. That's why Rav Sheshes required a second one. So that's a proof that revealing your intent is enough to cancel the get. It says Abaye, the man, what he said doesn't make any sense at all. What do you mean if Sheshes tells you to cancel a get? If Sheshes cancels people's gets, it's not his wife. So obviously what happened was that he had said, it's not quoted in the story, but he had said to the witnesses and to the shlichim, I'm canceling the get. The reason why he said that this is what Rav Sheshes said is because they started beating him up. That is, Rav Sheshes' men started to force him again to give the get. And then he said, no, Rav Sheshes said it, Rav Sheshes said it. And that's why he said that. But obviously he had to actually spell it out. Okay, so this is about what's my source. It's a story with Rav Yehuda. Rav Yehuda forced to get out of the son-in-law of Rav Yirmiyah Biro. And then he went, the husband, he went and he canceled the get. He forced another one and he canceled that one. He forced a third get, and this time he told the witnesses who are bringing the get or writing the get, he said, put some vegetables in the ear so you shouldn't hear him. Now, if you hold that revealing one's intent is enough, like Rava, so what does it help to have vegetables in the ears so you don't hear him? You see that he's running after you. Obviously, he's trying to cancel the get. He's expressing his intent clearly. So Rava responds and Rava says that's not a proof. The fact that he's running after you doesn't mean anything. Could be he's running after you because he wants to say, go quickly, give the get as fast as you can. And if you didn't hear him, you never actually revealed your intent fully. Now, Abaye brings another proof to him. He says, you have a case where somebody who gave a get, and he said, it's on condition that I don't come within 30 days. If I come within 30 days, the get is canceled. So he came on day 30, and he couldn't get across the river. The bridge was out, the ship was out, he couldn't get across. And he stood on the other side and yelled, look, I came, in clearly showing that he intends to cancel the get. And Shmuel said, it doesn't count as if he came, and the get is good. So Rava says, so Abaye says, so you see clearly that the fact that he revealed his intent doesn't help. The get is good anyway. So Rava says, no, here he didn't reveal that he has intent to cancel the get. He revealed that he has intent to come and fulfill the Tanai. And fulfilling the Tanai, that's something you can't do by revealing intent. You have to actually cancel the get if you want to cancel the get, or fulfill the Tanai if you want to fulfill the Tanai. Intent doesn't help with that. And the Gemara brings another similar incident. The Gemara says it was somebody who was engaged. He had a woman that was his arusa. He had done kiddushin but not nisuin, and he had a get written up. And he said, if I don't do nisuin by the end of 30 days, then give the get. The get should be a good get. Now 30 days came, and he said to the witnesses, I was trying to come and I spent so much money on the wedding. I really wanted to go through with this. There was an inus, so it was something that prevented me from being able to come. But look at everything I spent. Obviously, my intent was to cancel the get. I don't want to have the get. So the Gemara says, why should we be concerned that the get is no good? If we're afraid that the fact that he was an inus is not his fault, inus doesn't help for a case like this. We have a halacha, ein inus begittin. And if it's because he revealed that he wants to cancel the get, so it's a machlekes Abaya and Rava. So why should we be concerned? We have another similar story, somebody who gave a get in the same situation, and he said, it's going to be, you should give the get if I don't marry her by Rosh Chodesh Adar. Came Rosh Chodesh Adar, he wasn't there. They're ready to give the get, and then he came and he said, no, I said Rosh Chodesh Nisan. So he obviously thought it was Rosh Chodesh Nisan, so therefore he was an Einus. So again, the Gemara says the same thing. Einus doesn't help Einus be Gittin. If you're worried about Gilui Das, that's Machlekes Abaya and Rava. Now the Gemara gives a psak in the last three machlekes we had. The Gemara says the halacha is like Nachman, and Nachmeni. So Nachman is the machlekes we had before. Nachman and Rav Shesha is how many people did they have to cancel again in front of before the takana that you needed to go actually say to either the woman or the shliach. So like in Rav Nachman, 2 is enough. Then you have the halacha is like Rav Nachman, that paskin like Rebbe in both questions we had on the last stop. And now Nachmeni is Abaye's name. The halacha is like Abaye. That Gilui Dai to Begittin is not enough. You have to actually cancel the get itself. Now we get the next Mishnah, which discusses what happens when a person or a place has different names in different places. How do you write the get? So this is another takana of Rabbi Gamliel Hazaken. So in the old times, what they used to do is they would use whatever name the person was known by in the place in which he is. So if he's known by a different name in the place in which he is, and the place where the get is going to be gittin, well, the get is going to be given, he will have a different name recorded on the get than is actually common in the place in which it's going to be given. This is true for his name, for her name, and for the name of the city. His city or her city. That they should write on it this person and any other name that he has, or this place and any other name that it has, and this woman or any other name that she has. That way it could be clear that it refers to him. The Gemara now begins. The Gemara discusses how this takana came about, and the Gemara limits the rules a little bit. So the Gemara says that, says Rabbi Yehuda the name of Shmuel, that the people of Medina Siyam, the people of foreign land, sent a message to Rabban Gamliel Hazaken. They said, people who come from where you are to here, who have the name Yosef, but they call him Yechanan, or they have the name Yechanan, and here they call him Yosef, how can they divorce their wives? We can't identify them properly in the get. So Rabbi Gamliel stood up and made a tikana that any name that a person has, you should write the name, and then you should add on V'chol Shum Sheyesh and any other name that he has. Same thing applies to the woman. You should write her name and any other name that she has. And this is Mipnei Tikkun Eilam, that people should not assume that a get is no good because they don't recognize the names. And really, it's just a mistake because people are known by different names in different areas. Now, Rav Ashi wants to limit this. Rav Ashi says this is only if you have a person who's known to have different names in different places. If there's no known other name, don't write V'chol Shem Sheyesh Lei. So says Rabbi Abba Rav Ashi, Rav Mariah and Rabbi Lezer hold like you. It says the Gemara, there's a brisa that supports Rav Ashi, not clearly, but you can learn a support for Rav Ashi out of this. Rashi says as follows: somebody has 2 wives. One lives in Yehuda and one lives in the Galil, and he has 2 names. He's known by one name in Yehuda, and he's known by a different name in the Galil. Now, he divorces his wife in Yehuda with a get that was written with his name in Yehuda. He divorces his wife in the Galil with a get that's written under his name in the Galil. Neither one is good. They're both void because he has to use both names. The one in Yehuda has to say the name in Yehuda and any other name that he has, or say the name in Yehuda and the Galil, and the one in the Galil should say his name in the Galil, and then add on also the one in Yehuda. Now, what if they all went somewhere else? What if they all went to the Golan? So there he gives her a get, and he could just use one of the names, and that would be okay. So why should that be? If in Yehuda he has to use the name from the Galil, well, how come in the Golan he doesn't have to use the 2 names? So you see, because the Golan is not known to have multiple names, and if he's not known to have multiple names, you don't have to use the extra names, and that is a support to what Rav said. You only have to use the extra names if you know that multiple names are there. Now, the Merkos incident, it was a woman who was known as Miriam, and some people called her Sarah. So the people of Nahardah, wrote Miriam and any other name that she has. They did not write Sarah and any other name that she has, because only a few people knew her by that name. It was not the majority name by which she was known. Now we get the next Mishnah, which discusses 3 more takanos that was made by Rav Gamliel HaZaken. First concerns after a man had died and his widow wants to collect property from the Yisayimim, money that she is owed for her ksuba. So the halacha is, or was, that she has to swear that she hasn't collected the ksuba yet. She has to swear to the Yisayimim that she hasn't got the ksuba yet if she wants to collect money from them. So the problem that was happening was that women didn't want to swear, and therefore they were losing their ksubas. So Rav Gamliel made a takana that they don't have to swear; they could use a different device. That is, they could use a neder. Now, neder just means that she says that something is forbidden to her, but you can make that conditional on the truth of a certain statement. So she could say something like, all food will be forbidden to me forever if I collected this money before. And that would, of course, she wouldn't want to violate the neder once she made it. That's very severe, and therefore that would prove that she had not collected the ksuba yet, and she could collect it again. That's takana number 1. Takana number 2, the Gemara says, is that witnesses sign on the bottom of the get that you don't need halacha l'maisa. That's also a takana. And the third takana is not of Rav Gamliel HaZaken, but it's from Hillel HaZaken, and that is the takana of prosbol, that you can collect a loan that was made and passed through Shemitah by giving it over to the Beis Din. So the Gemara begins. The Gemara asks, what does it mean? Why are you saying an almana can't collect from the inheritors, from the Yisomim, the orphans? No one can collect from inheritors. Anybody who's owed money by a man who died cannot collect from his inheritors unless they swear that they haven't gotten the money, because how are the kids supposed to know if the father paid it off yet or not? So why are we specifically pointing out the almana here? So the Gemara says, no, that's true. There's an extra chiddush to say that even the almana has to swear, and then you may think that the Rabbanan went easy on her so that people should be more interested in marrying her. She should have chen, and therefore she wouldn't have to be in court and swearing and things like that. And the chiddush is that no, she still has to swear.